it gives me great pleasure to introduce Craig Decker, who is also a close friend. He's currently the Managing Director of Cisco Cloud and Hosted Worldwide at Cisco, which is a very, very big title and a lot of responsibility. If I'm not mistaken, I think you have, is it some 200 salespeople around the world that you're responsible for?
That's correct, Jeff.
200 is a large number, and I had the pleasure and honor of working with Craig together when he was Managing Director of EMEAR for BroadSoft. Your experience in being a director of global sales in many different technology environments has really given you this opportunity to be an expert on remote management and remote sales way before we had any crises. So first, let me start off with a top level direction. When you're thinking of managing a sales team, to a certain extent, a global sales lead, you've always managed international teams. Is there anything different? Is there anything different today, given COVID and COVID-19 that you've experienced, that you would point out and say, hey, this has been really different?
When I look at what's different in this COVID-19 period, it all comes down to the ability to manage. We've always had a scenario where we've been able to manage. I've worked remotely, to your opening point. I've ran teams from remote offices for 20 years now. So both within Cisco and BroadSoft, and then teams before that, I've always been sort of head of region, but not based in any of the offices, always remotely. And so your team always was used to you being able to be there. You were like one of the bench players that was brought on at any different point. You weren't the key player in that opportunity, but you were able to travel and help. We now have to do that without any travel. I haven't seen an aeroplane in 6 months. So when you look at what is really different right now, it's how you manage the team. I think the opportunities are still there for all companies with what you're selling. We have the sales leaders, the sales individuals. They're all incredibly capable of making that change. It's often the management. How do we change to manage them? That's the biggest issue. And that's because you won't be able to be there to support many of the issues. You have to be able to create that trust and nurture within the team. You have to be able to foster that belief that you have their back without actually being there. So there's a whole aspect of team dynamics that you have to really focus on now.
Do you really feel that you're doing as good a job now as you did in the past, when you're able to have that face-to-face with them?
So Jeff, I don't think we can tell whether we're doing better or worse yet, because in reality, we all got up sometime January, February, March and found out the world was changing at a dramatic rate. And like everybody, we've then adapted. And so what we're seeing is we're seeing how we engage, where all of our customers have often changed how they're working. So we're trying to adapt to their changes as well. Different groups who weren't as well set up to work from home and for this business continuity, they've had real issues in terms of access to equipment, access to information, access to people within their companies. So right now, it's too early to tell. I think if I was to give an insight as to one thing I'm more focused on now than ever before, it is teamship, team dynamics, and making sure that I am touching and working with as many of the team members as I can. And then when there is any form of crisis, reach out all the way down to whoever, no matter what the hierarchy is. You have to use this time that we have from not traveling to really make sure that you're spending more time on the team, not on the business, but on the team, on that concept of team and of people feeling that they are part of a team and that they are within that team being supported. Of all of the things I think that people are struggling with in this new environment, it's the sameness. In everybody's world, they've spent an amount of time. They travel to work on the train, or they, like me, would fly somewhere. The world was constantly a little bit different. They'd be in the office, and there was always that office politics and dynamics. There would be, even if there wasn't a customer lunch, there may well be a lunch with colleagues. Right now we all get up. Most of us are absolutely working from home. So the distance to work is whatever room you are based in. The picture out the window is exactly the same. You interact with yourself and your family, but none of your colleagues in a physical way. And so what I've seen as one of the biggest issues that the team is facing is the concept of sameness. I'm running a call next week for my leadership, and the requirement of it is everybody does the call from somewhere different. They have to not be where they've been every time we've done our staff call for the last 3 months, right? Go in the garden, go sit at the kitchen table, but it has to be somewhere else. And it's only a small little suggestion, Jeff, but sometimes what we have to be able to do is look at those things that are painful to us and go, right, let me share it. I had the conversation with my team. Are we all struggling with the fact that we're in the same spot? It's like, yes, right. Well, let's see what we can do. How do we change that up a bit?